I didn't expect the text message to change my marriage, but that's exactly what happened on a quiet Tuesday afternoon. I was sitting in my office, half focused on emails, half thinking about dinner, when my phone buzzed. It was my wife, Alina. We'd been married 12 years, long enough that messages from her rarely surprised me. This one did. She wrote, "I'm staying at my friend's place for a week. I need space." No explanation, no discussion, just a statement. I stared at the screen longer than I should have, feeling something settle inside me without warning or mercy. I didn't argue. I didn't ask who the friend was or why a week suddenly sounded necessary. I typed one word back. "All right." Then I put my phone face down and went back to my spreadsheet. From the outside, nothing changed. Inside, something did. That single reply wasn't passive, and it wasn't careless. It was honest. For months, maybe years, I'd felt her drifting, pulling away in quiet, invisible ways. Late nights, distracted conversations, affection rationed like a favor. Her text just confirmed what I already knew but refused to confront aloud. The truth I feared daily for months straight. Alina and I didn't have a loud marriage. We weren't the couple screaming in parking lots or airing problems online. Our issues were quieter, slower, harder to point at. She used to reach for my hand when we watched television. Somewhere along the line, that stopped. Conversations turned functional, like coworkers coordinating tasks. When I tried to talk about it, she'd say she was tired, stressed, overwhelmed. I believed her. I adjusted. I gave more space, more patience, more understanding, thinking that love meant enduring silence until things improved. They never did, only settling into something colder and increasingly distant. When she sent that text, something in me chose not to chase. I realized I was tired of proving my value to someone who already knew it. If she needed a week away, she could take it without drama from me. I went home that night and cooked for one. The house was quiet, but it wasn't hostile. I slept better than I had in months. No tension, no guessing moods, no bracing for rejection. Her absence felt less like loss and more like relief, which scared me more than anger ever could. Because relief means something broke long ago. 3 days later, a mutual friend mentioned seeing Alina out with someone I didn't recognize. I didn't ask questions. I didn't confront her. I didn't spiral. I simply noted how unsurprised I felt. That's the part people don't understand. By the time a relationship fractures openly, the emotional separation already happened privately. Her staying at a friend's place wasn't a break. It was a formality. I kept my routines, went to work, paid bills, lived normally. Detachment isn't cruelty. Sometimes it's clarity, arriving late after years of ignored warnings that no one wants to admit until consequences finally appear clearly. On the 5th night, she texted again. No apology, just logistics. She asked if I'd checked the mail, fed the neighbor's cat, paid the internet bill. I answered politely, briefly. She didn't ask how I was. I didn't volunteer it. The distance between us was no longer emotional. It was procedural. I could feel a shift in power. Not because I was controlling anything, but because I'd stopped reacting. Silence unsettles people who expect resistance. Calm unnerves those who anticipate pleading. I wasn't punishing her. I was simply no longer participating in a relationship already ending without formal announcements yet. At the end of the week, she didn't come home. Instead, she sent another message saying she needed more time. I read it, set the phone down, and felt nothing. That scared me, but it also told me everything I needed to know. Love doesn't vanish suddenly. It erodes while you're busy being patient. I thought about all the times I'd adjusted myself smaller to make room for her comfort. I thought about how little space she'd made for mine. My reply stayed the same. All right. It wasn't resignation. It was acceptance arriving later than it should have ever arrived. I began preparing quietly. Not in secret, just without ceremony. I reviewed accounts, documents, obligations. I made sure nothing depended on assumptions anymore. This wasn't revenge, and it wasn't bitterness. It was responsibility. When someone steps away from a marriage, even temporarily, they redefine it. I was responding to reality, not punishing a decision. Friends later asked why I didn't fight harder, why I let her go so easily. They didn't see the years I'd already spent fighting alone. Letting go was the first mutual act we'd shared in a long time, and perhaps the most honest of our marriage. When Alina finally came to collect more clothes, she looked surprised by my calm. She asked if we could talk. I said we could, later, through proper channels. I wasn't cold. I was clear. There's a difference. I wished her well and meant it. Anger would have implied investment. I didn't have that left. Watching her leave again, I understood that my silence had said everything my arguments never could. I wasn't trying to win. I was choosing peace over persistence. Some people confuse quiet with weakness. They learn otherwise too late, when consequences stop being theoretical and become real. I don't know what story she tells now, or how she explains my lack of reaction. I'm fine with that. My story is simple. She asked for space, and I gave it fully. Sometimes the most powerful response isn't confrontation or forgiveness. It's alignment with reality. I didn't reply all right because I didn't care. I replied that way because I finally did. Caring about myself enough to stop chasing someone already halfway gone was the quietest, strongest decision I've ever made. And for the first time in years, silence feels like freedom, not loss. And that realization changed everything, permanently.